Oh yeah. I'm chilling reading scriptures. Hey. See, I'm a grown man, and I don't do the things I used to do when I was young in the mind. Since I've been reading scriptures, now I'm a brand new man ever since I found the Most High. If you're in the truth, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's all about that knowledge. Why would I wanna hang with the people that's still in the world? No, I'm chilling, reading scriptures. I'm learning about eternal life and how to live forever with a higher. I don't wanna go nowhere, cause I'm chilling, reading scriptures. That's why I tell my people, you in the truth, yeah. If you in the truth, why you still be dabbling in the world, you ain't gonna find nothing out there. Cause when I'm by myself, chilling with the Father is way bigger than anybody else. If you in the truth, you know what I mean. Oh yeah, yeah, it's all about that knowledge. Why would I wanna hang with the people that's still in the world? I'm chilling, reading scriptures. I'm learning about eternal life and how to live forever with a higher. I don't wanna go nowhere, cause I'm chilling, reading scriptures. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So don't call my phone. Cause I'm chilling, reading scripture. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So don't call my phone. Don't call me now. Cause I'm chilling, reading scriptures tonight.
1 Corinthians 13 and 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
I'm chilling, reading scripture. That knowledge. Why would I wanna hang with the people that's still in the world? Why would I? I'm chilling, reading scriptures. I'm learning about eternal life and how to live forever with a higher. I don't wanna go nowhere. Not me. Cause I'm chilling, reading scriptures. I'm chilling, reading scriptures.
Read up in that nag, you know what I mean? In the Bible. Isaiah 26 and 9. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
You must do it today. Whatever Yah has put in you, be confident in it. All of those gifts, every last drop, you must do it today. 'Cause Yah's Ruach is yearning to move through you. He's been waiting so long for you. Oh, obedience, don't delay. Don't delay. Don't delay. Oh, don't delay. 'Cause 'cause you must do it today. You must do it today. You must do it today. All those gifts, every last drop, you must do what he's called you to do today. Has it been scratching at you? Has it been tapping on your shoulder? Has it been nudging at you? Oh, get up and do and move and be free, 'cause you must do it today. You must do it today. You must do it. Obedience.
I mean, what you got to see is this. When these other nations hurt or kill any Hebrew Israelite brother or sister, the Most High come through and destroy a whole city of another nation. Somewhere in the world, they getting jacked up. And he ain't coming back just for one. I'm looking at my people. Get a whole lot of them. Some looking down with their heads hung low. I'm listening to some sad people say they're giving up and how they lost hope. You keep them coming and they won't be on. Let me show you what the scriptures say. You gotta believe in the prophecies. Don't let distractions get in your way. We're spreading truth and we really work hard, 'cause we know we'll soon be home. Don't you know you're never alone? So tell me what am I crying for when we got the Most High? Yeah, we got the Most High, man. Oh, we got the Most High. That's all we need. Hey, he got our backs. Say, the Most High woke you up this morning. He gave you breath to breathe. He let you see another day and gave you some food to eat. Right. We got a lot to be thankful for while these prophecies unfold. We got these scriptures as our guide, and our future's already foretold. I'm still confused on why my people don't have no faith in the Most High. No faith. They sit around looking sad, and complain how everything is so bad. All right, man. They have no joy. They have no joy. And their peace is gone. And the peace is gone. Got the Most High, so we gonna be cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at my people. Some looking down with their heads hung low. I'm listening to some sad people say they're giving up and how they done lost hope. We keep them coming and they won't be on. Let me show you what the scriptures say. You gotta believe in the prophecies. Don't let distractions get in your way. We're spreading truth and we really work hard, 'cause we know.
All right, say shalom, shalom to all Israel. All praises to the Most High. Shabbat shalom for this Shabbat day. I had to give all praises to the Most High for his wisdom, knowledge, understanding, for the breath of life, and for all the existence of everything that he has given us. And shalom to all Israel, our family, far and near. And to you enemies, to you foes, you haters. Shout out to you too, because you're playing your part. but you're going to play your part in the final decision of the Most High's judgment. So as we see events of things, the big talk everybody's talking about, but first, this is my continuation of Genesis, the 2nd chapter. I want to recap uncertainty in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and bring out some more details in Genesis, the 2nd chapter. But I want to touch on the Kanye West issue and the situation with Kanye West. Kanye West is a brilliant brother. He has very well entrepreneur skills, but we have to see from what angle he's coming from. Is this for his own personal gain, or is this to empower the rest of our people, to show them how do you get to that level of increasing wealth and power and how to survive? Because everybody has their own purpose, what they're doing. So we have to find out if his purpose is for his own sole personal gain of achievement and wealth, or is it to share the information to make our people empowered in what they have to achieve in this society. But what Kanye West have to understand, when he brought up all this information about the so-called Jews, you have to understand that they are the power brokers that runs this earth. Right. They control this earth on every level you could think of. The educational level, the financial, the economical, the media-wise, the propaganda information, the psychological warfare. They control all these platforms. And you cannot win against these bastards, okay? If you're not willing to lose everything, don't put your mouth or your foot out there. Like the scripture said in Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, it said, be not rash with thy mouth, okay? You have to understand what you're up against. And a lot of our people, even those that are consciously, they don't know the depths of why we're in this condition as a people. They think, oh, no, God has nothing to do why we're in this condition. What you nuts gonna find out, the Most High is the power. And he delegates and relegates the power to anybody. What he did to us, he brought us down for our disobedience. And he set this enemy up over us to control the resources, the power of this earth. And if you think in your little peanut brain, you could overthrow this man and do your own thing, you're sadly mistaken. Right. There's higher powers behind what's going on in this earth than your physical, well, this is a metaphysical. No, this is beyond your carnal thinking of how this thing works in this earth. There's levels to this here. Right. And Kanye West is not the one to bring out the Most High agenda. Leave that to the true people at the Most High self to bring it out. Yes, the Most High is using him because he has the influence and the power of the people to bring out this, to bring it out. But the true people to bring it out are the teachers and the servants of the Most High, because we don't have nothing to lose. Understand? If we die or if we lose it, so what? We understand what Yahweh Shai said in the scriptures. What man is he that goeth to war and counteth not the cost? Okay? So you have to count the cost of this thing here. If you're going to go out there and you're going to say all this thing about the so-called Jews, you have to expect the repercussion that's going to come behind of it. The first thing he's going to do, he's going to hit you economically. He's going to knock you down because he knows you don't have the economical power or the resources. He has it. Okay? And I want to prove to you people out there, some of you conscious people and you Egyptologists and you Africans, so-called black people that think, oh, we could do this if we come together and unite. We could do this. Let me show you something deep, man. Okay? The Most High set this devil up, okay, to control the resources. And the Most High said, we're going to serve our enemies in the wants of all things. Okay? You want that contract? You want your license? You want anything to be established, you have to go through this devil. Even if you say, well, yo, brother, you see, I'm what they call, what's the term they use now? When they say, oh man, sovereign. I'm sovereign. Even if you sovereign, you still have to go through this devil, his contracts, his legal paperwork, terms. You still have to go to this devil. You're not going to operate and say, you're just sovereign like that, okay? Because where did you get that sovereign information from? It came from him, okay? You got to remember, we're serving our enemies, whether you believe it, want to accept it, or like, nah, brother, we kings. Yeah, we kings. But we fell. This kingship fell from us. Okay? So I want to show you something real deep. Let's go to first Psalms, the 17th chapter. And before I go into my real class, I actually read a song before I start my class. But I want to touch on this subject with Cayenne West. How the Most High sets up this devil to control the resources of the earth. And what you're going to find out, it goes deep. This rabbit hole goes deep, okay? It's not you just going to say, oh, the white man, the so-called Jews control. Yes, the so-called Jews control the media. And you just see now that Elon Musk just bought Twitter, right? Right. So you know what's going to happen now. Right. You know what's going to happen now. Right. Elon Musk is going to put his stamp and his idea into Twitter because he controls it. And you know what he's going to do. He's going to bring back your boy Trump up in that space. That's right. Okay? So you know the war is on. Okay? Psalms, the 17th chapter, real quick, Yeshua. I'm gonna show our people some that they think they understand, but they don't know. All right? Starts from Psalms, the 17th chapter. That's not the real Psalms. The main Psalms I want to read was Psalm 61. But I want to read this Psalm 17 in regards to Cayenne West. All right? And we're going to read this whole chapter. Let's go. First verse.
Psalm 17 and 1. Hear the right, O Yahweh. Attend unto my cry. Give ear unto my prayer that goeth not out of feigned lips.
See what David said? David was asking the Most High to hear the right, O Most High. Attend unto my cry and give ear unto my prayer. Okay? That goeth not out of feigned lips. Your prayers cannot be of feigned lips. Okay? Cayenne West is just talking. Okay? But his prayers is not really sincere. Okay? Because if he understood, he will understand the scripture here. Continue.
Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Thou hast proved mine heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me, and shalt find nothing. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress.
Okay, and that's what David is saying. He doesn't want his mouth to transgress. That's why it's in Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. Be not rash with thy mouth, to cause thy foot to sin, to cause your mouth to sin. Let me get it real quick. Go to Ecclesiastes come back real quick to Psalms. Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. Oops. Let me read it real quick, scripture. Ecclesiastes 5 and 1. Ecclesiastes 5 and 1. And Solomon said this. Okay. And if anybody knows better, it's King Solomon, the wisest king. Okay? Read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of Yahweh, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil.
Read the second verse.
Be not rash with thy mouth.
You can't be rash with your mouth. When you put out things like that, you have to be ready for the backlash from these devils. But these devils play for real. They get down dirty. Right. Okay? They don't give a damn about you, your family, your generations. They will wipe out your whole generations and leave you like a pauper. Right. Okay? Because they play for keeps. These are our enemies in the Bible known as the Amalekites. Right. That's who these people are. Right. These are our most dreaded and most hateful enemies that the Most High told King Saul to destroy. Right. He said, because in the end, these same people is going to bite you in your behind in the end. And these devils are still around. They haven't forgotten the history. Okay? They know the history as to who we are. Continue.
And let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before Yahweh. For Yahweh is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore, let thy words be few.
Right. So if you're going to expose them, bring them out, you have to be ready to face the consequences. Okay? Don't put all those things on there afterwards. Say, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Don't do that.
Right. Right.
Okay? If you're going to say you apologize, then you didn't mean it.
Right.
You didn't count the cost of that battle.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what Nick Cannon did. Now I see Kyrie Irving is jumping on the bandwagon. Eventually he's going to come out and say, look, I'm sorry, Mr. So-and-so. Because these devils do not play fair. Okay? They come out with a vengeance. Okay? Now let's go back to Psalms, the 17th chapter. I'm going to get to my point. It's very important that Kanye West and all of our people understand what we're up against. Okay, go back to Psalms, the 17th chapter. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Concerning the works of men, by the word of thy lips, I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer.
Right, the paths of the destroyer. The Most High has a destroyer in the earth, a vicious enemy, okay? And he doesn't forget, and he holds that in remembrance. He knows that we're his enemy, and he's going to play that to the end until the Most High destroys him. Continue.
Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not.
See what he said? Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. And that's what we want. We don't want to slip in what we're doing now, because we're in the end. And the Most High, Yahweh Shai said, he that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Continue.
I have called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me. O Yahweh, incline thine ear unto me, and hear my speech.
And so David said, hear my speech. Continue.
Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by the right hand them which put their trust in thee, from those that rise up against thee.
See what he said? See what David is saying? David was saying this message out to those of us that put their trust in the Most High. Read that verse again, Yeshaya.
Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by the right hand them which put their trust in thee, from those that rise up against them.
See, from those that rise up against them. We have strong enemies out there. Okay? Seen and unseen enemies. Continue.
Keep me as the apple of thy eye.
So he says, keep me as the apple of thy eye. Go ahead.
Hide me under the shadow of thy wings.
Hide me under the shadow of thy wings. What is that? The protection, the armor, the words of the Most High, his truth. That's what he's saying. Keep me as the shadow. Keep me under the shadow of thy wings. The protection. You know, like you ever seen a chicken? When a chicken sees an enemy, or a mongoose, or a snake, and a mother hen has little chicks, what does she do? She spreads her wings and put the little chicks under her feathers, and she protects them, and that beak comes out to protect against the enemy. She's looking out. So she's putting that feathers out to protect them. What is the Most High feathers that's protecting us? That spiritual hedge that he has around us.
Done.
Okay, continue.
Verse 9. From the wicked that oppress me.
See, from the wicked that oppress me. We have wicked enemies. That they say, oh, I don't have no enemies. I don't hate nobody. Nobody's my enemy. Ignoramus, shut your mouth. Okay?
Right.
You got enemies that you know nothing about.
Right.
That will cut you off on all levels. And the first place they hit you is financially, to see how you're going to survive. And once you cut off financially, then your whole mental faculty, everything, you're destroyed. Your emotions, you start losing it. Because the first thing you say, oh man, I can't survive. And that's where they hit you first. That's called psychological warfare.
Right.
Targeting the enemy.
That's right.
And when they hit you in that financial level, then they're moving on the different levels to take you down. Okay, continue.
From the wicked that oppress me.
From the wicked that oppress me, go ahead.
From my deadly enemies.
From my deadly enemies. We have deadly enemies. Okay, continue.
Who compass about me.
Who compass me about. They surround us. They're in all high places.
Right.
Political, okay, militarily, educationally, the court system, okay? They're in all the high places of this government. Private, okay? And every high level, they control these different spectrum, okay? And they compass us on every level. So you think you can outsmart them and win this game? Not without the Most High. Hell no. The Most High has to be in front of your battle. Okay, continue.
They are enclosed in their own fat.
See, they're enclosed in their own fat. What is that fat? The wealth of the entire earth that they have stolen. Okay? They're enclosed in their own fat. They have all the resources of the earth. All the mineral wealth of this earth is in control of them. And you're going to find out who gave it to them. The Most High did it for a particular reason. To show us, when you go against the Most High, this is what I'll do to you. I'll take you down. I'll take everything from you. And I'll give it to your oppressor and your enemy. To show you that I am the boss. And that's what the Most High did to us. But guess what? We're going to get it back in the end. It's just a matter of time. The Most High deals with time and timing. Everything is based on time. Okay? Continue.
With their mouth, they speak proudly.
See? With their mouth, they speak proudly. Yes, we the Jewish people. And they swear and believe that. Okay? We're the Jewish people. And we're going to show the world that we are the Jewish people. But they're not. Let me say, yeah, they are the Jewish. But they're not the real Judites. They are the Jewish. I wished. Yeah. You devils. Continue.
They have now compassed us in our steps.
See? They have now compassed us in our steps. What does compass mean? They have surrounded us. Okay? And even to the point they have surpassed us now. They have surrounded us. And they know all of our ins and outs, our goings. They pattern and they watch us. They study us. Slavery was part of that experiment to know about us in slavery. Now they know us inside and out. How we think, how we move, how we react, and the things that we like and the things that we dislike. They know how to push those buttons. Continue.
They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth.
Yeah, they have set their eyes bowing down to the earth, looking down on us, scorning us. Look at these Negroes. Right. Who do they think they are? They want to be like us, the Jewish people. No, we don't want to be like you. You stole from us. Right. Everything you have, you stole. Like there's a book called A Stolen Legacy. Everything you have, your legacy is a stolen legacy. And you pattern yourself off of everything that we have achieved in the earth. Continue.
Like as a lion that is greedy of his prey.
And they're like a lion greedy for his prey. You ever see a lion when he devours an animal? When a lion is hungry and he devours that prey, man, he goes in for the kill. Go ahead.
As it were a young lion lurking in secret places. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him.
No, in turn, the Most High is going to disappoint him. The Most High is going to bring him down in the end of our punishment that we have to serve. Continue.
Cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked.
So David said, deliver my soul from the wicked. Go ahead.
Which is thy sword.
Which is thy sword. Could any of you conscious black people out there tell me what that word means, what that verse is saying? Do you understand the depths of the Most High and what he did? And what he did in using the enemy? He said, deliver me from the wicked, who is thy sword. Now, we all in here know what that means. We know what it means, right? What does it mean, audience? When it says, deliver me from the wicked, who is thy sword. What does it mean? Anybody? Sisters, y'all could take a shot too.
The enemy to punish us.
Right. He used the enemy to punish us. The enemy is the Most High sword in this earth to do his bidding. What kind of God is that? This is not a just God. Yes, he is. Because in the end, he's going to punish and destroy these devils. That's right. He used them for that purpose against us because we were a bunch of stiff-necked creatures that the Most High made. Right. A bunch of knuckleheads, hard-headed. Okay? Stiff-headed, man. Rebellious. So the Most High said I had to use that enemy to box you upside your head, slap you upside your head, and show you that I'm the Most High. And we're going to see this thing very soon before this thing goes up in a blaze of fire. Read that verse again, Yeshaya.
Psalm 17 and 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
Go ahead.
From men which are thy hand.
From men which are thy hand. They're doing the Most High bidding on the left-hand side. That's right. Okay? Go ahead.
O Yahweh, from men of the world.
From men of the world, yes, the so-called Jews, the Jewish people, what you call the Illuminati, the elite families, the aristocrats, the plutocrats, the ruling elites, the financial bankers, all of them. Okay, go ahead.
Which have their portion in this life.
Which have their portion in this life. In this life, they have that portion. Okay, continue.
And whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure.
See that? And whose belly thou hid with the hidden treasures. What is that? All the resources and mineral wealth of the earth. Oil, gold, diamond, silver, chromium, plutonium. Okay? Every mineral wealth of the earth, these devils control. When you hear of the Oppenheimers, okay, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Collins, the Mellons, okay? When you hear about these top Illuminati families, man, okay, they control the resources and the wealth of the earth beyond your imagination. You're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to the bank. I'm going to put $1 million in the bank. Even if it's a black-owned bank, they cannot operate unless they get the license and operation from this devil.
Right. That's right.
Okay? Oh, don't tell me, well, it's a black-owned bank. So what? He can't operate unless he gets the approval from these top elite ruling powers of this earth. And don't forget England. Oh, that's the beast. That's the beast that runs the shack, man. Okay? England controls the affair that goes on Wall Street too. Okay? Don't forget about that beast. England run and control 90% of the earth. Okay? 90% of the earth was under British rule.
Right.
And they robbed and stole from all the people that was under their, what they call colonialism. Okay? And you think the British just say, oh, give it back to the people? No, that wealth, they still have that wealth. It's shared between them and the American devils and all the bunch of European devils.
Right.
They all divvy up that riches among themselves.
That's right.
Okay? But they ain't giving you that riches. And the reason why they put this so-called East Indian in office in England is to pacify you. That new prime minister in England, that's pacification. Because they know they have to pay back what? Reparation back to the people. So they say, oh, no, we don't want to do that. No, the English don't want to pay back. What we'll do, we'll put somebody of a foreign nation in office, and they put that East Indian dude.
Right.
They didn't just elect him. He was selected by them to pacify people and say, oh, look, oh, the English are changing. They're changing their minds towards us. No, they're not. Who's more slicker than these devils? That's the same thing they did to France, to Haiti. When they told Toussaint, the overthrow and his men, okay, we'll give you independence, but come to France to sign an agreement. And what the hell they did? They made them pay back all that money back to France. And they killed Toussaint.
Right.
Okay? These enemies are clever.
Right.
Okay? They plan all of their endeavors from A to Z. It's planned out. Okay? So these devils have all the wealth. Read that verse again. So I don't want to get too drawn off from that. I'm going to go back to my point. Read that verse again, Yeshaya.
Psalm 17 and 14. From men which are thy hand.
From men who are thy hand. Go ahead.
O Yahweh, from men of the world.
From men of the world. Go ahead.
Which have their portion in this life.
Who have their portion in this life. They have the portion in this life. That's why they said, let us use the creature speedily. Let me read that real quickly in the Apocrypha. I'm coming back to this real quick, Yeshua. It's in the Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. I'm moving fast because I want... Scripture's starting to flow into my brain now. Like, I'm going crazy. I'm going bazini. All right? All praises to the Most High.
All praises.
All right? Read Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, and... No, it's the second chapter.
Second.
Yeah, let's use a creature speedily. And start from let's start from the 6th verse.
Wisdom of
No, start from the 5th verse. Start from the 5th verse. Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter and the 5th verse. This ties in right here with this verse here in the 14th verse of Psalm 17. Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 5. For our time is a very shadow that passeth.
See, this is what the wicked is saying, the elites. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away. Our time is short. So let's do what we got to do now. Let's use this C19 for our advantage because we have an agenda. Continue.
And after our end, there is no returning.
See, after we're finished and gone, there's no returning. Go ahead.
For it is fast sealed, that no man cometh again.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present.
So it says, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let's enjoy all the good things that are present because they know it's in the power of their hands. Go ahead.
And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
See that? And let us speedily use the creatures like as in the youth. Let's use these Negroes for what they're made for us to do. Slaves. Wow. Let's use them for their talents and their potential. Let's use them. We don't care. We don't give a damn. Even when he had the interview, he said, so why do you hire them? Is it for talent? Or is it for, what's the term he used for, it was a so-called Jew that was on, I think, one of these shows. And they was asking him about, why do you hire blacks? Is it for talent or is it for, and he said, no, it's for, what's the term he used? I forgot, but it's going to come back to me. So Charlemagne was saying, so wait a minute. He was asking him, so wait a minute, you exploiting the people? He said, I have to eat, I have to feed, I have people to feed. So he said, so what? That's what it's about. And they all know this. It's about using you. But I don't know who he was, a so-called Jew on one of those shows. But somebody that knows about you could speak on it. All right? So read that verse again, Yeshaya.
Verse 5. Mm-hmm. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away. And after our end there is no returning. Mm-hmm. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Mm-hmm. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
Use the creatures like as in, use them for what they're meant for. Okay, go ahead.
Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by.
Let us enjoy life to the fullest. Let's have the most expensive wine, liquors, the most expensive houses. Let's enjoy it. Okay, go ahead.
Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Mm-hmm. Let none of us go without as part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place.
And that's what they do. And they leave it to their generations. It's called generational wealth. It's passed on to their children. That's what we don't do. Okay? And that's what every last one of them, they pass on. Like Awar was saying, Elon Musk has 11 children. Why do you think he has 11 children? To pass on that inheritance to his generation. Okay? He says to go to Mars, but it's beyond going to Mars. It's passing on that generational wealth to keep your name going in the earth. Continue.
For this is our portion.
He said, this is our portion. What it says here in Psalm 17. Read that part in Psalm 17:14 again.
Mm-hmm. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life.
See, which have their portion. And they say, this is our portion, to use the wealth and power that was given to us. Now go back to Wisdom of Solomon and read that verse again.
Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Mm-hmm. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness. And in every place, for this is our portion. And our lot is this.
And our lot is this. Go ahead.
Let us oppress the poor righteous men.
You see that? That's their mentality. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Okay? Because the more you oppress a poor man, the more he does what? The more he continues to what? To thrive. He becomes more creative. The more you oppress us, the more we become creative. And we take our creativity to what? Either to the left or to the right. When it goes to the left, it goes into what? In being a big drug kingpin. A top drug king notch running the operation. Nicky Barnes. Okay? You ever seen that movie that Denzel made with American Gangster? How he said, listen, I'm going to take this to the highest level. I'm not just going to be the buyer. I'm going to be the distributor. I'm going to where it is. Where he went. He went to where? Vietnam. And sat down with the drug lord and said, listen, I want this operation. They said, how are you going to do this? He said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. He went straight to the drug lords in Cambodia and Vietnam and said, I'm going to run the operation. And how did he do it? He was sending it through the dead soldiers that came back to America. And he had his people in all the operations set up. So see how he became creative in that wicked mindset to run a drug operation? Mm-hmm. And even Esau couldn't believe, what? A nigger is running a drug operation? They couldn't believe it. But you know how he got exposed? How did he get exposed? He got real flam. He started to floss, just like Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the richest Israelite king in Africa. He had the world's wealth of gold, and he was generous with it. He used to give out and give it out. And he started to floss with all that gold. And that's what he did. He put on that what was a mink jacket and went to the fight. He had a chinchilla, and he was flossing too. And Esau said, wait a minute. Esau, who's that nigga in that suit, chinchilla? And where he was saying, they said, wait, a nigga up in the front seat? Wait, whoa. Something here right. And from there, Esau started doing his investigation and said, damn, I'll be damned. A nigga is running a drug operation. They thought it was the Italian and the mafia. But no, shows you. When we become oppressed, we become creative, but sometimes we take it to the negative side. Sometimes we could take it to the positive. Look at Black Wall Street. That was just 60 years after slavery. And look what we achieved in Black Wall Street. Okay? Yeah, Mike. And we were flourishing.
And hiring white people.
Yeah.
White banks.
We were flourishing. And Esau said, this can't be. I got to destroy this, man. He put an end to that, man. And it wasn't just Black Wall Street. It was many areas just like Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay? So it says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. That's their nature. That's their job. Okay? They're not going to change from doing that. Continue.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
They don't respect nobody when it comes down to that. Go ahead.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
See? Let our strength be the what?
The law of justice.
The law of justice. So what does that mean? Anybody know what it means? Handle the court system. Let our court system deal with these Negroes. We're going to make oppressive laws, draconian laws, to keep them in jail longer than white men. Okay? J. Edgar Hoover, that bastard. Okay? When we get hold of him, we're most likely going to raise you up. And you coming back alive, and we're going to drag your butt in slavery, and we're going to put them chains on you. That J. Edgar Hoover was a devil, man. Okay? He didn't like black people, man. What he did to us, man, he went onto every level to destroy us, man. And what was his main theme? What was his main theme behind of that? And what else? Say it again. Say it again. That's right. Because they knew that a Messiah is going to come out of us. Okay? Stop the rise of a black Messiah. So that shows you they knows who we are and the history of us. By any means necessary, they have to stop it. That J. Edgar Hoover, when the Messiah raises up and we get back in power, you're going to be risen up from the grave and you're going in those shackles and you're going to be put to DATH.
That's right.
Okay? You're going down, buddy. That's all of you bastards.
Right.
You're going down. Okay? Continue.
Verse 12. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
He's not for our turn. Even though Cayenne West is part of us, he's not for us. They know that. They know when we get to that position, we change. And we like, nah, we're going to do this for us and our people. And that's why they can allow us to become in that high prominent position. Esau knows the history. Okay? He went back to Egypt, saw what happened in Egypt. When we became successful, what happened in Egypt? They said, no, we can't allow that again. We can't allow these blacks to get in that position. And that's why when a black man get to that position, what do? The first thing they do is what? Let you marry a white woman. Mm-hmm. So you pass on the inheritance to her. Okay? Marry a white woman. Okay? That's the first thing they do. Any black person that's in high position like that, they make sure they position you to get a white woman or a white man.
That's right.
Okay? To keep you in check. Go ahead.
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
Yeah, we're not for their turn. Go ahead.
And he is clean contrary to our doings.
And we're clean contrary to their doings. Go ahead.
He upbraided us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressings of our education.
What does that mean? Everybody know what it means? It says, an objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. Right, and we object to his BS so-called history. Okay? His history. A lot of black people now are saying, yo, we don't want to hear your history. And we're going against it. Okay? More and more black studies are coming up. Listen, we don't want to hear that crap. Christopher Columbus discovered America. You don't want to hear that no more. We object to his educational system. Okay? So, you all can read the rest on that, but let me go back to Psalm 17. What time is it? Wow, almost 1 o'clock. You know, let's finish it, yeah, to make my point and then go back to Psalm 17. Go ahead.
Verse 13, he professeth to have the knowledge of God.
That's what they're saying to us. Look at them. They profess to have the knowledge of God. Who do they think they are? That's what they're telling us. Who do they think they are? They profess to have the knowledge of God. Yes, we're the sons of the Most High.
That's right.
Servants of the Most High.
Right.
Continue.
And he called himself the child of the Lord.
And that's what we're doing, and we're going to do it because we see now it's our time. Continue.
He was made to reprove our thoughts.
See what they're saying? They said, we were made to reprove their thoughts. That's our job. Our job is to reprove their thoughts, to put them in check for their lies and for their nonsense. Continue.
He is grievous unto us, even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion.
Right. And that's what we're saying to them. Okay, go ahead.
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
So that's what the wicked is saying. The wicked is saying amongst them, listen, they count us, they see us as counterfeits. And they are counterfeits. They are phonies. They are liars. So the wicked, they know this and they see this. And this is what they're saying among themselves. Look, the Negroes see us as counterfeit. And the so-called Jews say the same thing too. They're saying they're the real Jews and we're counterfeits. Yes, that's what we're saying. We're the real Jews and you're the counterfeit. Continue.
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and make his boast that God is his Father.
And that's what we're doing. The Most High is our Father. All the way to the end, because there's no turning back now. This is it. Like Michael Jackson said, one thing about people, we're spiritual. Whether we're in wickedness, we're still spiritual too. Now for him to say, this is it, he had to have known something. Yes.
Yuri Israel said, the person you're referring to is Lear Owens of Def Jam.
Right, that's it. Tawada. Thank you. I know somebody was going to...
Yuri Israel.
Yeah, Tawada. I knew somebody was going to find out, yeah. Yeah, he a big owner, man, of that thing, man. All right? Continue.
Let us see if his words be true.
So now this is what they say now. Let us see if his words is true. So now they're going to put you to the test now. Let's see if these Negroes are really true to what they're saying. Let's see if Kanye West is really true to what he's saying now. Because they're going to put him to the grill now. They're going to see if he's have the fortitude or he's just talking out of his mouth because he's mad. Because it's a personal thing. He's mad because it took away his children. So that's why he's coming out and saying these things. He's not really saying these things for our people's sakes. He's mad because they took away his children. He lost that damn whore he had there. What's her name? Kim Kardashian, that trash. She's trash. Ain't nothing queenly about her.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
And let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
See, and that's what he's saying. Let us prove what's going to happen to him in the end. Go ahead.
For if the just man be the son of God,
He said, if the just man be the son of the Most High,
he will help him.
yeah, well, their God is going to help them. Their God is going to help them. And they make mockery of that. Well, maybe his God would help him, his God. It's the same to Yahushua. They made mockery of him. Let him see if God's going to come along and help him now.
Right.
He saved others. He can't save himself now. So that's what they're going to do to us. They're going to put us to the test now.
Right.
They said it'll be of the Most High. Let's see if their God's going to save them when we bring in what we bring in now. When we bring in this new world order, let's see if their God's going to help them. Okay? When we bring in that mark of the beast system, let's see if their God's going to help them. Let's see if Cain's God is going to help him now, since he has a big mouth. And Cain loves to run his mouth too. Go ahead.
And deliver him from the hands of his enemies.
See? And deliver him from the hands of his enemies. And that's the mindset they have. Continue.
Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture.
See? Let us examine him with torture. Let's torture him. Let's psychologically punish him emotionally. Go ahead.
That we may know his meekness
That we
and
may-
prove his patience.
And prove his patience. And they're going to put Kanye to the test, man. Okay? If he doesn't tap out. You're wrestling, you're fighting, and you get put. Let's see if he's going to tap out. Okay? And we can't tap out now, brothers and sisters. We cannot tap out now.
That's right.
Okay? When the pressure is applied to us, we have to go in more and seek the Most High.
Right.
Okay? If you tap out now, you can forget it.
Come.
Right.
Continue.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
See? Let us condemn him with a shameful death. And that's what they're going to do. They might not kill him, but they're going to train him out. Okay? They're going to put out propaganda about him. They're going to start taking away his money, his contracts, everything. And they're going to hit him where it hurts. Okay? They're going to blackball him. Okay? You talk about us, the Jewish people. Don't you know we're God's people? How dare you? They're going to make an example of what they did to Hitler in Germany. Anytime Germany get out of line, they bring up to Germany. You remember what you did in 1940-something with the Holocaust? That's what Papa Bush told Germany. He said, Germany, if you get out of line, we'll bring up what happened in the Holocaust. And you know Germany can't afford to have that on their agenda. Okay? And that's what Papa Bush told them. He said, you get out of line, Germany, we'll bring up what happened with the Holocaust. But Papa Bush, daddy, was done with that too. Financing the Hitler regime. Okay? So it's a big family. All of them is a big family.
Come.
A big family. But guess what? There's no honor among thieves. They're all a bunch of thieves. So they all trying to squabble for the pot. But who's the top family of them? Let me see if you all know. Who's the top family of these European bastards? Right? Which is the so-called Jews. They're the top family. And who's the brain of the engineering when it comes to engineering? The Germans. And who's the top notch when it comes to warfare? America. America is a muscle for all of them. But who comes up with all the intelligent and secretive ways of finding out and doing things against other nations? The British. The British intelligence, MI6. MI6 was before the CIA and all those groups. CIA came out from MI6. Okay? MI6 been around for a long time. And remember, they always show, even in the James Bond movie, they always speak about MI6 and Her Majesty. Okay? Even in all the James Bond movies, James Bond was an MI6 agent too.
Right. Right.
Working for Her Majesty. MI6 represents Her Majesty, represents majesty. Okay? This was an intelligent department for the Queen. And they report back to the queen exactly what they did, how they did it, and when they did it. Every report, everything that they did, what they took down, who they killed, what nations they robbed, it was reported back to the queen. But that was to keep the queen out of the eyes from being the guilty party. It was to keep the queen separate and look innocent. But the queen knew all of that, what went down. They reported back to her. Okay? Don't think she was just an innocent old heifer. We don't know. We don't know. No. They reported back to her every information that they did. Okay? They had different leagues of departments of men, channels that they worked through. Okay? Continue. You want to build something, Yeshai?
No, I didn't get it yet.
Okay. All right.
Let us condemn him with the shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected.
You see? So Kanye West got to be careful. All right? Because they're going to use the same words, what he said against them. Like I said, he had to prepare yourself to know what's going to come when you bring out and expose all these things. Right. Okay? You just can't go out there and run your mouth and say things and then don't expect to get a backlash. Continue.
Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. As for the mysteries of Yahweh, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For Yahweh created man to be immortal and made him to be in the image of his own eternity.
That's us. All right, go ahead.
Nevertheless, through the envy of the devil came death into the world.
Okay, and that goes right back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Okay, which goes into the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, and the devil was there, Satan was there lurking as an angel of light. Okay, to spew his venom. Okay, finish reading, you said.
And they that do hold of his side do find it.
Okay, so let's go back to Psalm 17 and we're going to finish this. And I was just showing you about Kanye West and how and who operates and runs this thing, man, and how deep and how deadly they are. Okay, so what verse we left off in the 14th
middle
verse?
of 14.
Okay, read 14 again.
Done. Psalm 17 and 14. From men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes.
So they leave it to their inheritance, to their children. They pass on that wealth, that generational wealth. They call it old money. Okay? The people that own Walmart and these different stores, that's old generational wealth of money, man. Okay? They go way back, a long time, man. Okay? The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Astors, the Bilderbergs, man. These let me, you know, as a matter of fact, let me run off a couple of the names for y'all while we hitting it, man. I know YouTube might cut it off, but rotate around it, man. Okay, YouTube. The top Illuminati families: Evelyn Rothschild, John Rockefeller, Charles T. Russell, Frederick Van Doom, David Freeman, Joe Kennedy, the Kennedys too, okay? Li Kai-sheng, okay, from Chinese, the Onassis, R.J. Reynolds. You know who's R.J. Reynolds? And what else? The aluminum, that makes the aluminum foil. Okay? And not only that, they're into a lot of big chemical, bio, and different stuff too. A lot of these companies diverse themselves into different companies too. Okay? Jacob Astor, the Astors, that owns a lot of Manhattan, downtown Manhattan. Okay? The Bundys, George Bundy, Josiah Collins, Alfred DuPont, Prescott Bush, and the Dulles family. These are a big family that helped to jumpstart the CIA. Okay? So these people have power in every branch of the government, whether it's private, federal, they run and control this earth on every level.
Oh, I got a couple of actors for you. They're a part of that same family line of Ashkenazi. Natalie Portman, Scarlett Johansson, Mila Kunis, James Franco, Jake Gyllenhaal, Daniel Day-Lewis, Dustin Hoffman, Harrison Ford, Jennifer Connelly, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Adam Sandler, Shia LaBeouf, Woody Allen, Ben Stiller, and pretty much anybody you name.
And who are those? Amalek. Amalek. Okay? The Most High tells you about these dirty little bastards in the scriptures, man. Okay? They're there. And they're playing their part to the fullest, man. Okay? So let's go back to Psalm 17, and then we're going to end it on Kanye West about how this whole thing, who runs this earth, and how it's being done. Okay? Continue.
Verse 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness.
All right. So, for our people, you really have to understand the nitty-gritty of how this earth is ran and who gave them the wealth and power of this earth. Even though they stole and took it, it couldn't have been possible unless the Most High allowed them to take control of it. Okay? The Most High relegates the power in the earth. Okay? So that ends up part with Kanye West. Now, I want to go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. That's why I'm going to recap on Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Because I didn't fully go into it last week, but I want to recap and go back into it. Okay, so let's go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Because every time you read and look into it, more things comes out. When you go back and you do more research and study, Spirit allows you to go and bring up more things that you didn't bring out in the first segment of it. So let's go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, right? And let's read the 8th verse again. I want to show you something here too.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 8. And Yahweh planted a garden eastward in Eden.
Okay, so eastward. So Brother Banyamyan, how you know eastward is Jerusalem, brother? You using your own conjecture, brother. You gotta show facts, brother. So the Most High said he planted a garden eastward, where?
In Eden.
Okay, eastward in Eden. Now remember, the whole entire earth was one. It was not separated yet. It was one entire earth. So that's why the whole entire earth was and still is the garden. Okay? But in the garden was a specific place where the Most High called Eden. Okay? Paradise. And we're going to find out that place is known as Jerusalem, the land of Zion. So the Most High planted a garden. Let's read it again.
And the Most High planted a garden eastward in Eden.
Eastward in Eden. Now let's find out where is this eastward in Eden. Okay? Let's go to Genesis, the 25th chapter. I want to show you something. Genesis 25. Eastward in Eden. Genesis 25, and read the 6th verse. Read the 6th verse, then we're going to jump to the 17th verse.
Genesis chapter 25 and verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward, unto the east country.
Okay, so now, eastward into the east country. What country is east of Jerusalem or Israel? Now, directly east. Iraq, and what else?
Iran.
And what else? Arabia. Arabia. All right? That's where Muhammad got the idea from. Face Mecca, face the east. Allahu Akbar. That's where they get the idea from, facing the east. All right? Because Jerusalem is to the east of Arabia. So, read again. Go back up here to read the 4th verse.
Verse 4. And the sons of Midian.
Now, we know the Midian are Midianites, a family to Ishmael. And they live in a certain part of the earth. All right? Go ahead.
Ephah, and Epher, and Hanach, and Abida, and Elda'ah. All these were children of Keturah.
All these were the children of Keturah, and all of them live east of Jerusalem in that land called Arabia. Arabia is a big, massive country. Okay, Yemen, the Arab Emirates, all those other names you see, they got Dubai. All that is Arabia. It was called Arabia. It wasn't divided up into what you see today as Arab Emirates, Dubai, Yemen, and all those different names. It was just Arabia by itself. Okay, and sons of Keturah and Ishmael live in that area of the land. Continue.
And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, but unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward.
So Abraham was living eastward. He was already in the east, which was in Jerusalem, in the area of Israel. And what did he do?
Eastward unto the east country.
And he sent them eastward, east to the east country, which is Arabia. Arabia is the east country. So when you hear about the far east in the scriptures, it's talking about Arabia. That's the farthest country in the east of that area, Arabia. Okay? Now from the 17 verse now.
And all these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the spirit and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren.
So that's where the east, far east is. But the east was Jerusalem. Okay? So that's when the Most High said he planted that garden eastward. Okay? Now go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Genesis, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to read that verse again.
Okay, Genesis 25 and verse 8.
No, Genesis 2, sorry. Genesis
2 and 8. And Yahweh planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
So the Most High put him there in the garden. All right, go ahead.
And out of the ground, the Most High to grow every tree, made the Most High to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight.
Okay, so now trees, literal physical trees to eat for food, and symbolically trees, which represents people. We're going to go into that too. Okay? So remember, the Most High always uses everything in twofold, symbolically, metaphorically, figuratively, okay? Parables, dark sayings, okay? Allegories, okay? So it was physical trees to eat, to get fruits, okay? Mango trees, papaya trees, coconut trees, you name it, the whole works. And he put trees, which represented also people. Finish reading that.
Could I read that again from the top?
Yes.
And out of the ground made the Most High to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food.
And good for food. Go ahead.
The tree of life also in the midst of the garden.
The tree of life also. The tree of life represents what? His word, the truth, the commandments. Okay? So he gave Adam his commandments. That's the tree of life. When you go to Revelation 22, it tells you of a tree of life, which you call today what? The Bible, the word, his word. Okay? Continue.
And the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
And the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, philosophy and people. Yes. It's symbolically representing the people with their philosophies and their doctrines. Right. I'm going to show that too. All right. Go ahead. That was it, right? Okay, now, from there, let me show you, give you an example, how trees are represented. Go to the book of Mark, the 8th chapter. Mark, the 8th chapter. Mark 8 and 24.
Mark chapter 8 and verse 24. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
See? Now, these trees represented men. Okay, so he says, read again.
And I looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that, he put his hands upon his eyes and made him look up. And he was restored and saw every man clearly. And he sent them away to his house, saying, Neither go into the town, nor tell it to any in the town.
Okay, now from there, let's go to Ezekiel 31 now. You can get a better understanding. Men and people also represent trees. All right, Ezekiel 31.
Start at 3.
Going to go straight to it. We'll start from you know what? Start from the second verse.
Done.
Okay.
Ezekiel chapter 31 and verse 2. Son of man, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his multitude. Whom art thou like in thy greatness?
Okay. Who was likened unto Egypt in their greatness? Okay. But it's going to jump into something else too. That's how the Most High operates. He starts off with one topic, showing you something, and then he jumps right into the past, present, or future. That's how the Most High operates with the prophets. That's why the Most High always took them into what? Into the spirit of things. When you go into the spirit, the Most High open you to things that you have no understanding about, things way beyond before you were born. In the present, he takes you to the past, and he takes you way into the future where you have no understanding of, whoa, what's that? But he shows you that in the spirit, in that short space of time. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, and with a shadowing shroud of an high stature, and his top was among the thick boughs.
All right, so now Moses is starting to work it down to Ezekiel now. Go ahead.
The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running round about his plants.
See, with rivers running around his plant. What's the significance of a river and rivers? What's the spiritual meaning of rivers? What's the physical and what's the spiritual? And the spiritual, that's in the physical. The spiritual significance of rivers represents what? The word. How do we know that? Remember Yahweh Shai said, he that believeth on me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow what? Rivers of living waters. Spiritual knowledge and understanding. Okay? So rivers represents two. Physical and the spiritual. Okay? So just like in the Garden of Eden, it had a spiritual and a physical meaning. Yes.
David.
Yeah, I think it's Psalms 1. I think let me show you Psalms 1 real quick. You should. Go to Psalms 1. I think that's the one you want. Yeah, Psalms 1.
What verse you want me to
Start from right, the third verse, yeah.
Psalms 1 and 3.
Read the second. Read the first verse, yeah.
Con. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
See, planted by the rivers of water. Growth, physical growth, and spiritual growth. Go ahead.
That bringeth forth his fruits in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
All right, that's what you wanted, right? That was it, right? That was it. Okay, now go back to Ezekiel. All right.
Verse 4, the waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running around about his plants.
Right, so that's what the Most High said. He put Adam in the garden, and from that, one of the rivers parted into 4 heads. Okay, and that river was supposed to sustain life and growth. All right. Now, the Egyptian, the Nile River was a god to them, man. Okay. They call that the Itiru. Okay. They believe in that Nile River, man. Okay. And that Nile River run all the way down, going down to Ethiopia, Tanzania, the Blue Nile, the White Nile. Okay. That Nile River runs down all the way down to Africa. All right. Started from up, coming down, goes through, come down to Egypt. Okay. And it represents life, life-giving force. Okay, continue.
and sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field.
And the little river was that Jordan River. When we go back to Genesis, we're going to see it's that Jordan River. Go ahead.
Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters, when he shot forth. All the fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Thus was he fair in his greatness, in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. The cedars in the garden of Yahweh could not hide him.
See now, it jumped from the Egyptian to the Assyrian. Now it's jumping into what? It's going to Adam. Okay? Right. You see, now it's all right. Read again.
The cedars in the garden of Yahweh could not hide him.
So the trees, okay, represents the people. It couldn't hide him because Adam stood out. Go ahead.
The fir trees were not like his boughs.
The other trees, the other people was not like his bow from his family members. Okay, go ahead.
And the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of Yahweh was like unto him in his beauty.
See, but is he really talking about trees? So the Most High gets down, he's showing you symbolically, figuratively, what the trees represent. All right? Continue.
I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of Yahweh envied him.
Now, put 2 and 2 together now. Trees can't envy nobody, okay? Not even trees out there envies other trees, okay? So it's talking figuratively about people. It's telling you these were the people that were in the garden that the Most High made also too. These trees envied Adam. Okay? And they had the doctrine and philosophy of Satan. And that's when Eve went and took of that tree. And she ate of it. She observed and took in that knowledge and philosophy. She didn't go by a sugar apple tree and then eat it. Oh, she got wise. No. Or she swallowed an apple or some foolishness like that. Okay? But that came because the Most High said he have shut up the book. And then he said, knowledge shall be increased in the latter times. Okay? So back then, 50 years ago, that's what we've been taught because the understanding of the Bible wasn't open. But now, the Most High is opening the understanding because we are at the end of our punishment. And he said we are at the end of the Gentiles' rulership. Okay? So those trees represented people in the garden. And the physical trees that he made also was trees that he made for us to eat from, to give us vitality. And he made another tree that was in opposition to the Most High, where he said, don't eat of that tree. Because once you eat of that tree, once you partake or you take of that philosophy and you absorb it in, you shall surely die. But how? Spiritually. Yes.
Yeah, when he commented, Pastor David said, Eden equals pleasure.
Right. It's a paradise, right? It was a paradise the Most High made for us, man. Okay? For us to enjoy what the Most High created. And the Most High put everything there for us, man. Everything that Adam touched or Eve touched, boom. It turned to gold, man. Okay? Everything was productive and working in our favor, man. Healing properties, man. Stones had healing properties, man. And that's why we're going to read about, when we read about the next river, it said in that era it had what? Stones, onyx stones. You know what onyx stones is used for? It has healing spiritual properties. When you go out to Revelation, the Most High tells you the foundation of it was built on stones, different stones, jasper stone. All these stones have healing properties and values. Okay? When we read about it. The Most High made everything wonderful and beautiful in its order. And he put the resources and mineral wealth in the earth. But it took an evil genius mind to go in and tap in and find out what those resources were for. Don't you know gold could also be ingested too as healing properties?
Right.
We knew that. Right? Remember when we was in the wilderness and Israel was out there twerking and doing all that stuff when Moses came down from the mountain and Moses took and he crushed the stone and made him drink it. It had gold also in that too. Gold is a conductor to electricity too.
Right.
Okay? We knew all that. Even the Egyptians knew that too. The other African nations knew that too. Gold is a conductor. Okay? And Esau tapped into all that information, man. Now he's hiding it from us and keeping it for himself. Okay? You want to bring up something, Yeshua? Okay, let's go back to where I left off. Genesis, right? We finish this now. Ezekiel 31?
Done.
All right, okay. Now let's go back to Genesis now. So we see the trees represents people in the garden. Okay? And the trees envied Adam. Okay, so let's finish up. Now, okay, read 10 now. Okay, 10.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden.
Okay, so now a river went out of Eden to water the garden. This river is the Jordan River in particular. Okay, and I'm going to show you that. Continue reading on.
And from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads.
Okay, so from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. Okay, now let's go to the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus, 24th chapter. And show how the Most High is so great in his wisdom that he left us, man. That's why the Most High says, search the scriptures, man. All right? The Most High is so great, man. All praises to the Most High, man. Ecclesiasticus, the 24th chapter. And the Most High is going to show you here a comparison of wisdom and also what he did in making the Garden of Eden, the garden with the rivers. Ecclesiasticus 24, and read the first verse. The whole chapter is good. I should read it because it links right in here to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Ecclesiasticus 24 and start from 1.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 24, also known as Sirach, verse 1. Wisdom shall praise herself, and shall be glory in the midst of her people.
And that's what it all boils down to, the Most High's wisdom. And in that wisdom, he gave us what? Laws, commandments to follow. That this might be what? A trademark for us. The Most High said, if we kept this here, he said, this is going to be what? Going to be, when the nations see it, they're going to say, oh, man, what a wise and understanding people when we keep the Most High laws, commandments, and statutes. Continue.
In the congregation of the Most High shall she open her mouth and triumph before his power.
Mm-hmm.
I came out of the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth as a cloud.
Wisdom, speaking about wisdom, the Most High's wisdom. Go ahead.
I dwelt in high places, and my throne is in a cloudy pillar.
Mm-hmm.
I alone compassed the circuit of heaven and walked in the bottom of the deep, in the waves of the sea, and in all the earth, and in every people and nation I got a possession.
Mm-hmm.
With all these I sought rest, and in whose inheritance shall I abide? So the Creator of all things gave me a commandment.
Okay, speaking about us, to Israel, he said, so the Creator of all things gave me a commandment. Go ahead.
And he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel.
And let everything start with us in Israel. Go ahead.
He created me from the beginning, before the world, and I shall never fail. In the holy tabernacle I served before him, and so was I established in Zion.
Zion. Everything is in Zion. The foundation is in Zion. Go ahead.
Likewise, in the beloved city he gave me rest, and in Jerusalem was my power. And I took root in an honorable people, even in the portion of the Adawan's inheritance. I was exalted like a cedar in Libanus, and as a cypress tree upon the mountains of Hermon. I was exalted like a palm tree in En-Gadi, and as a rose plant in Jericho, as a fair olive tree in a pleasant field, and grew up as a plane tree by the water.
So now he's going into the garden. He's going to the garden. Okay? And he's going to show you what he did in the garden and what rivers represent the garden. Go ahead.
I gave a sweet smell like cinnamon and asphalthus, and I yielded a pleasant odor like the best myrrh, and galbanum, and onyx, and sweet storax.
Now, when you go back here now, go back here to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, 11th verse. It's going to show you something right here.
Genesis 2 and 11. The name of the first is Pison.
The first river is the Pison. That's the Red Sea. Okay, go ahead. We finish reading that.
That is which compasseth the whole land of Havilah,
And Havilah is the area of Arabia, the entire area of Arabia. Go ahead.
where there is gold,
Where there's gold. There's actual physical gold in that area. Go ahead.
and the gold of that land is good. There is Delim and the onyx stone.
See, just like he's current up here. Now go back to Ecclesiasticus where you left off here in the 15th verse.
I gave a sweet smell like cinnamon and aspalathus, and I yielded a pleasant odor with like the best myrrh and galbanum and onyx and sweet storax, and as the fume of frankincense in the tabernacle, as the turpentine tree.
Just right here in Genesis 2, right? And it says, and the gold of that land, and the gold of that land is good, and there's bdellium. Everybody know what is bdellium? Okay, bdellium is I got it right here. I wrote it down. I want to look it up. It's spelled Bdellium. It's known as bdellium. It's an aromatic gum resin obtained from trees. See, like I told you, everything is in Greek and Latin. Of the genus Compiphora balsa modernodron. That's the Greek damn term they use. Adam didn't give it no names as that, okay? They just omitted everything that Adam named and put their own name on it, okay? It's of the incense tree family. It is similar to myrrh. It is used in medicine and perfumes. What land in the east produces these type of resin? This country in the east is particularly famous for producing incense, myrrh, and all these type of trees. It comes from a tree, right? It says it belongs to the incense tree family. It is similar to myrrh and is used in perfumes and medicine. Remember when the wise man was born, what did they bring to Yahushua? Incense, myrrh, and what else? And gold, right? Where did they come from? Say it again. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the largest producer in the East that produces myrrh, frankincense, and any form of bark. See them true stick that we use? All that comes from Saudi Arabia. The incense, the myrrh, the frankincense. And bdellium grows abundantly in that area of Saudi Arabia. So that's why when you go back to Genesis 2 and 12, it says, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. All those mineral wealth and deposits are in that area of Arabia. And recently what they found, maybe like 100 and something years ago, was the oil. That's when they discovered the oil. All right? So now go back to the Apocrypha now in 2 and 15. So it's going to show you now, in all these areas of these rivers, the Most High have resources and wealth in these areas. All right? So go back to Ecclesiasticus, the 2nd chapter, and read the 15th verse again.
24th. We got it.
Yeah, Ecclesiasticus 24 and 15.
I gave a sweet smell like cinnamon and aspalathus, and I yielded a pleasant odor like the best myrrh, and galbanum, and onyx, and sweet storax, and as the fume of frankincense in the tabernacle.
So this is where Moses got all these stuff from. Remember when he was out in the wilderness? Because remember, Arabia borders what? Egypt and Israel too, on the desert side. So remember when Moses fled from Pharaoh, where did he go? In Midian, it's Arabia. So Moses knew all that terrain. Okay, go ahead.
As the turpentine tree, I stretched out my branches, and my branches are the branches of honor and grace. As the vine brought I forth pleasant savor, and my flowers are the fruit of honor and riches.
Which is the wine. Go ahead.
I am the mother of fair love, and fear, and knowledge, and holy hope. I therefore, being eternal, am given to all my children which are named of him. Come unto me, all ye that be desirous of me, and fill yourselves with my fruits.
With the fruits, physical and spiritual fruits. All right, go ahead.
For my memorial is sweeter than honey, and mine inheritance than the honeycomb. They that eat me shall yet be hungry, and they that drink me shall yet be thirsty. He that obeyeth me shall never be confounded,
which is the commandments, keeping the commandments. Go ahead.
and they that work by me shall not do amiss. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High Power, even the law of Moses, commanded for an heritage unto the congregation of Jacob.
Which goes back to the tree of life, right? That's the tree of life. All right, go ahead.
Faint not to be strong in the Adawan, that he may confirm you. Cleave unto him. For the Adawan almighty power alone, and beside him there is no other Savior. He filleth all things with his wisdom, as the Pison.
As a Pison. So he's giving an example. Just like he filled the Pison River, that's the same with the Most High wisdom overflows. And he's showing the example. In that area of the garden, he put wisdom, he put knowledge, and he put the knowledge of good and evil. All right? Read that verse again.
He filleth all things with his wisdom, as the Pison.
As a Pison, the Red Sea. Go ahead.
And as Tigris,
As a Tigris.
in the time of new fruits.
Go ahead.
He maketh the understanding to abound like Euphrates.
Like the Euphrates River. Go ahead.
And as Jordan in the time of the harvest.
And the Jordan River was that river that became the four heads. Because notice it didn't mention no rivers in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, right? But why is it mentioning Jordan here? Because the Jordan River was the river that parted and became that four heads. All right? So read up the 26th verse again.
He maketh the understanding to abound like the Euphrates, and as Jordan in the time of the harvest. He maketh the doctrine of knowledge appear as the light, and as the Gion in the time of vintage.
And the Gion, we know, is what? Represents the Nile. Okay, go ahead.
The first man knew her not perfectly.
Okay, so see, it's going back to the garden now. Who was the first man? Adam. Did Adam knew it perfectly? No. He messed up. All right, go ahead.
No more shall the last find her out. For her thoughts are more than the sea, and her counsels profounder than the great deep. I also came out as a brook from a river, and as a conduit into a garden.
That's the Jordan River. As a conduit into the garden. That's the Jordan River. Go ahead.
I said, I will water my best garden, and will water abundantly my garden bed. And lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea. I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning, and will send forth her light afar off. I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy, and leave it to all ages forever. Behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom.
Right. So when we labor for this wisdom, it's not just for ourselves only, but also for all them that seek wisdom. So the Most High is showing you in the garden of these rivers. Now let's go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. And he's giving an example. In that garden, it also had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And it also had what? The knowledge of good and evil. Okay, just like in life today. What do we have today now? We have the Most High Word, and we have what? The knowledge of good and evil today that we're being exposed to. So Adam wasn't exposed to it at that particular time. Okay, but the Most High had it there. And the Most High told him, don't eat of that tree. Because the day you eat of that tree, that's it for you. Okay? So the only thing they knew in the garden was what? Righteousness. So that's when he said in the garden, they were naked and they were not ashamed. They were not ashamed of what? Of the not knowing the other knowledge, only knowing the Most High's knowledge and wisdom. So they were only naked or exposed to the Most High's knowledge. They were not exposed yet to the knowledge on the left-hand side. That's what it's talking about. Now let's go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and finish this here.
I go to 13?
Yes. 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 No. They were naked. Naked has many meanings. Okay? Naked means you could be, in the physical, it could be naked, no clothes. Naked means you're only naked to your environment of what you understand or know. All right?
And shame.
And shame. Right, because remember when Moses was in the wilderness And he came down and the people were partying, twerking and doing all that stuff. And he said, Moses said, and Aaron said, the people are naked. What were they naked to? To the evil, the surroundings of what they was doing. All right? And he said, they're naked, but they weren't naked. But they were naked to the evil that they was doing right there. Because when you look it up here, let me show you. When you look it up real quick, look up naked. It's going to give you a lot of definitions, right? Look up naked, Google it, and you'll see something. Mm-hmm.
I got it in the Webster's 1828.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It says naked, open, discovered to strip, not covered, bare, having no clothes on, as naked body or naked limb, unarmed, defenseless.
See?
Open, exposed.
See? Exposed. That's it. They weren't exposed to the other side of life. They were only exposed to the Most High's presence and his way that he gave them. All right, there's more. Go ahead.
Having no means of defense or protection against an enemy's attack or against other injury. Behold my bosom naked to your swords, open to view, not concealed, manifest, destitute of worldly goods.
See, they weren't manifested to that other side of life. So they weren't ashamed because it was normal to have that knowledge and to be in the presence of the Most High. All right? So that's why when they found out, the Most High said, who told you were naked? He said, the man. He said, wait a minute. I didn't tell you who told you were naked? Because now they became aware of their surroundings. So they became naked, unarmed. All right? There's more to it.
Number 6 is
yeah.
good. Guilty and exposed to divine wrath.
See? You see? There it is. There's more, right?
There's a lot more in this.
It's a lot, you see? So the Most High put those words in there for you to study, not just to be lazy. And the Most High did because he didn't want it to be revealed back then. Because the Most High knew the devil had to rule this earth. Esau had to rule this earth. We had to go down in our punishment. When the Most High punish you, brother, you're going to serve your time. There's no escaping that. And the Most High said he was going to strip us of everything so we could serve our punishment. So we could know that the Most High is the power. All right? So, where we left off in?
13.
13, go ahead.
Genesis 2 and 13. And the name of the second river is Gihon.
The Gihon. This is the Nile River, okay? The Nile River. And it parts into the Blue Nile, the White Nile, and different areas, all right? Go ahead.
The same is it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia.
So the Most High let you know, which compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. It compassed Ethiopia. So showing you all the rivers included all that civilization, that black civilization. So how could Peter say the Bible is a white man's book? When right here in the beginning, it's showing you black civilization right here. It's showing you where these rivers began, okay? And the rivers run all the way down to the Persian Gulf, down to India. Because remember, it was one earth. It wasn't separated. Now, when you put everything back together, look, everything fits in perfectly. Like a jigsaw puzzle. Look at South America, how it fits in right there to West Africa. Okay? To the western part of Africa.
Okay, that.
Right? Look at India, how it fits in right there to the west, to the eastern part of Africa. All right? Look at that, Australia. Everything fits right in. All right? And you can see how the Persian Gulf runs right down to Arabia and through India, the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean.
Oh, could I add to the
Yes.
The mountain ranges at the east of South America match the mountain ranges in West Africa.
Right, identical. That's why the Amazon, it matched right in there to parts of Africa.
Gone.
All right? Everything was all together, one whole land. And in the midst of that was Jerusalem and that river. And it parted into those 4 rivers. Most High is great, man. And that flood just tore everything apart, man. So how could they say it wasn't a flood? Because they knew the earth was one earth together, but they won't give the Most High no credit and say it was a flood. Right? Look at that, man. One whole mass of land. Okay, and Africa is a huge place. Africa is not a small country, man. Okay, it's huge, man. Okay, yeah, you know, and Africa has a lot of resources, man. A lot of mineral wealth, man. Infinitive amount of wealth. How long they been taking gold out of Africa now? Let's say we start from the time the European went into Africa, like in the late 1400s. That's what? Over 600 years or more? They've been taking all that gold from Africa, and it still has abundance of gold today. Abundance of gold. And just recently, they found another place in Africa where they found gold in abundance, man. Mountains of gold, yeah. It never runs out. You understand? And when we get back in the rightful position, the Most High is going to open up all that wealth to us, man. That's why the Most High said the city was a city overlaid with gold. Gold, man. We haven't seen nothing yet, man. Go ahead, Yeshua. You want to bring up something?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Verse 14. And the name of the third river is H.O.D.C.
The H.O.D.C is the Tigris River. So he's showing you where all these rivers were surrounding. All right, go ahead.
That is which go toward the east of Assyria.
It goes to the east of Assyria. All right, go ahead.
And the fourth river is Euphrates.
And the Euphrates River. All right, we know the Euphrates River is down to the bottom of Iraq, and it flows all the way out down to the Persian Gulf. All right, so those are those four rivers that surrounded the whole area. Also known as the Fertile Crescent. That's black civilization right there. That's black history. Okay? Continue.
And the Most High took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And the Most High commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Right. So you could eat of all the trees. Physically, you could physically eat of it. Okay, go ahead.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
But you see that other tree over there? That other tree of knowledge of good and evil? Don't even touch it. Don't even put your hand, don't even go over there and deal with it. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not eat of it.
You should not eat of it. Eat also means to observe, to take in. Okay? Because when you eat something, you take it in, you digest it, and you savor it. When you drink wine, you savor it, right? When you eat a nice, good seasoned steak with pepper and salt, and it's well, and you put that knife and it's tender, that sirloin steak or that skirt steak, and damn, this steak is good. Brother, you eat meat? I'm a vegetarian. Hey, brother, hey. So, to each his own, man. You eat the herbs, I eat the steak. Okay? But now, you don't overindulge in the meat now. Okay? Everything is a balance. Okay? Brother might frown you, man, fire for you, brother, fire! You eating meat. Hey, it's in the dietary law. It's not unclean. Okay? But I tell you what, you go back and check the history of any warriors that fought wars and that stood up for the nation of people, they ate that meat. Okay? If you're a warrior and you run in a kingdom and you're a vegetarian, brother, you're going to be hungry all the time. I guarantee you, David wasn't a vegetarian. Samson wasn't a vegetarian. But I'm not going to knock them. You understand? That's a choice everybody make. You understand? Scripture speak about it. You can't knock a person if they eat vegetable or if one eat meat. You understand? If that person make a choice to be vegetarian, that's a good choice too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? Because I tell you what, when the angels came down to meet Abraham, what did they eat? They ate a cow. They slaughtered that cow. The angels came down and ate the cow with Abraham. Let me show you that. Go to Genesis. Let me show you that real quick. But there is good virtue in being a vegetarian too. So I'm not knocking nobody who's a vegetarian. All right? Okay. Let's go here to Genesis. I think it's 14th chapter, I think. 14. It's just right before he had Ishmael and 1 second.
18?
I think it was before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
I think it's 18, right?
18, yeah.
Verse 7. 6 to 8.
Okay, read the first verse, yeah.
Go on. Genesis chapter 18 and verse 1. And the other one appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in a tent door in the heat of the day.
All right, so was this really the Most High? Who was this? Right, a messenger, an angel, right? A messenger came down in the presence of the Most High, because the messengers represent the Most High. Okay, go ahead. Remember the Most High said he makes his angels as flaming fires. All right, go ahead.
And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do, as thou hast said. And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran into the herd.
Now that takes time to do that. That wasn't just a 1, 2, 3 thing. That takes time to knead and make that dough, man, and make that stuff, man. Ain't like we got everything already prepared today. You got to make that thing from scratch, man. Understand? But she already had her servants already made the flour and everything and had it stored up. You understand? Okay, go ahead.
And Abraham ran into the herd, and fetched a calf, tender and good.
What Abraham did?
And fetched a calf, tender and good.
Abraham ran to a herd and fetched a calf. But guess what? These were grass-fed, not the garbage you're being fed today. That's that's what makes it so bad today. Right. They feed them the garbage. They're not being fed grass-fed, organically. Right, free range. Okay, go ahead.
And gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them.
But how come the so-called Jews say, you're not supposed to drink milk and cheese and meat together? Where do you get that nonsense from? What did Abraham have here?
And he took butter and milk.
Where butter comes from? Milk. Right? But you could make butter from almonds, from peanuts, or from whatever. But more likely it came from the milk, from the milk of the cow. Okay, go ahead.
And the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat.
Go ahead.
And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Continue. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being so old?
Sarah said, Come on, you kidding me? I'm going to have children now. I passed the time now. Huh? I'm going to have pleasure with Abraham. You understand? So she heard it, she laughed. Like, how is that going to be? All right, go ahead.
And the Most High said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is there anything too hard for the Most High? At the time appointed I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
All right, so that was good. So showing you that when the angels came down, they ate that calf with cow with Abraham. All right, but we got to remember the stages of things back then to now. If you could get your meat or your food grass-fed, it's good. Understand? But it has to be a balance too. You can't just eat meat every day, 24 hours, man. I mean, you gotta mix it up. Eat some herbs sometimes, change up your diet. Maybe one whole month, strictly herbs, vegetation. Understand? Because remember, everything is so defiled now, man. And the way he corrupted the food system, unbelievable. There's very few places that really grow their food the way it's supposed to be grown organically. And when you do get it, it's expensive, hard to get. You'll find it, but you're gonna spend a lot of money. Okay? So, choice is yours. Which one you gonna make? All right. But I also like eating vegetarian too. I tried it for 1 month. You know what I mean? But when I work and then surrounded, hard, man. Get hungry, man. My work is a strenuous, hard, burning work, man. You know? You gotta condition yourself to that. Okay? But I don't knock nobody who's a vegetarian and a person that hold that real quick, because Paul speaks about that. To go to Romans, the 14th chapter. Romans, the 14th chapter. Let me show you something. Romans 14.
You want to start at 14?
Start from the first verse here, and then we'll jump down to
Romans chapter 14 and verse 1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let him not that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for Yahweh hath received him. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for Yahweh is able to make him stand. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. He that regardeth the day regardeth it unto the other one, and he that regardeth it not the day, to the other one he doth not regard it. He that eateth, eateth to the other one, for he giveth Yahweh thanks, and he eateth not, and he that eateth not, to the other one he eateth not.
So Paul here is not talking about eating anything. He's talking within the confine of the dietary law. Right. A Christian will run with this and say, see? Not knowing the history of what Paul was talking about and what Paul was. Paul knew the dietary law. Paul knew you weren't supposed to go there and eat no pork or anything like that. He's talking about those that knew the law in the confine of the dietary law. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 7, for none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the other one, and whether we die unto the other one. Whether we live therefore or die, we are the other ones. For this end, Yahushua both died and rose and revived, that he might be out on both of the dead and living. But why dost thou judge thy brother? Or why dost thou set at naught thy brother? For we shall stand before the judgment seat of the Mashiach.
That's right.
For it is written, as I live, saith the other one, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to Yahweh. So then every one of us shall give account of himself to Yahweh. Let us not therefore judge one another any more, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way.
Right, and that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to put a stumbling block, all right, or an occasion to a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. You don't want to put a stumbling block for your brother to make him mess up, right, and deliberately fall. You don't want to do that, and some people try to do that. Try to put a stumbling block in your way for you to purposely fall and not rise. That's called niggerism. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 14, I know and am persuaded by the Adawan, Yahushua, that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. But if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably. Destroy not him with thy meat, for whom Yahushua died. Let not then your good be evil spoken of. For the kingdom of Yahweh is not meat and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit.
All right. All right. So that's it on that. Continue on down here. Go ahead. Finish reading on. Yeah.
Verse 18. For he that in these things serveth the Hamashiach is acceptable to Yahweh and approved of men. Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. For meat destroy not the work of Yahweh, and all things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense.
Right, so if you eat it with offense, then it becomes a problem. Okay, go ahead.
It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak.
Right, so if your brother is offended by certain things, you don't agitate it. Okay, if a man's a vegetarian, don't try to make mockery of him. Oh, you're a vegetarian, you're a weakling. All right? Oh, look at you. You know what I mean? You try to degrade him or make fun of him. Or vice versa. Right? Okay, that's a choice one makes. Okay, go ahead.
Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before Yahweh. Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he alloweth. And he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
Check that out. So if you don't have no faith, it's a sin. Right? So for one being a vegetarian and one eating meat, that's one's choice. Once he's not breaking the dietary law. All right? So I'm going to end the class on that. I know I didn't finish it, but maybe I'm going to do another part to this again some other time. Yeah. All right? Yeah, to be continued. All right? So to be continued, all right? So let's go back to Genesis real quick again, the second chapter, and let's finish that part.
We were at 16.
So on 16, right? Yeah.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 16. And Yahweh commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die.
So once you go and take up that other tree, you're going to die. All right? Yes. Except that, right? Everything that I put there, that's of my presence, of my approval, partake of it. But that, no. See no evil, do no evil.
Hear no evil.
Hear no evil. Don't even deal with that. It's there. Right. For evil purposes. Understand? Because once he did that, he was going to be exposed to learn the evil way of life. Understand? Straight to the point, Jackarat.
And it don't matter. It don't matter. But the Most High specifically.
All right. So continue, Shar.
Verse 18. And the Most High said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Out of the ground the Most High formed every beast of the field.
So he made every beast of the field, every animal, go ahead.
And every fowl of the air.
Every bird that you see flying, the Most High made, go ahead.
And brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them.
So Adam named all the animals. So how the hell the animals got Greek and Latin names? Scientific name for them. Showing you it's about white superiority. White supremacy in the earth, man. They totally said, we don't want what God left here. We're going to change it and put our names on it. And they're going to pay for that too, man. Right? Because that has people in the world confused. Continue.
And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Right. So whatsoever every living creature that Adam named, that was the name of it. Okay? It wasn't no such thing as what he called he called dinosaurs, all these different scientific names. What does he call the one that the long neck? What he calls it?
Giraffe.
What the hell? Adam ain't called no names like that. And then he had so many different names for all these different dinosaurs. A Brontosaurus or what? A Tyrannosaurus. What the hell? In Greek and Latin. Okay? Alligator. Crocodile. They got scientific names for them too. All right? Adam didn't give it no scientific, no all these Greek, Latin. He called it exactly what it was in the Hebrew tongue. Okay? Adam made it simple. Messing with the Most High creation. And that was all done for him to put himself in the place of being the superior race of people. That's all it was for. White supremacy. Okay, continue. Yeah, we're gonna finish reading it. Yeah. Read it again. Yeah.
And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Right, that was the name thereof. All right, go ahead.
And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him.
Right. So the woman wasn't given to Adam yet. Okay? That was the last thing the Most High gave to Adam. So, okay, I got somebody special for you now, Adam. Okay? And that's that woman. Go ahead.
And the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam.
Okay, now what is that deep sleep? Right. Trance. The Most High put him in a trance. Right? The Most High put him in a trance. The Most High was going to do something different. Right? The Most High was going to take the woman that was of his close family, his kinship, be his wife. The Most High wanted everything to be within that family, not from the outside. He didn't want outside influence to disrupt it. He kept everything there amongst them. Continue.
And he slept, and he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib, which the Most High had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
All right, go ahead.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
Now, how do we know she was a close relative of him? Let's go to Genesis. Genesis 37. How do we know when we read this here that this was a woman of his close kinship? All right? Because remember, in the first chapter, the Most High said he made male and female, right? All right? So the male and female was there. All right? And this is known as the Adam's family, the Adamites. You had, all right? You had the sons of the Most High, the sons of the wicked, and the sons of men. All right? You had those three classifications of people. All right? So Genesis 37, and we're going to start from, let's start from 26 to give you an example of that.
Genesis chapter 37 and verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh, and his brethren were content.
All right. So what does that mean? He's one of us, of our family. Now let's get a better understanding. Let's go to Genesis 29 now. Genesis 29 and 14.
Genesis chapter 29 and verse 14.
Start from 11.
Verse 11. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice.
Sorry, and start from 9. Yeah, start from 9. Yeah.
And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother.
You see that? His mother's brother. Family members, go ahead.
And the sheep of Laban's mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled a stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
All right, so what was Laban to Jacob? His uncle. Bad, wicked uncle. All right, go ahead.
And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month.
So we're family. So that's what the Most High did. The Most High took the woman that he made from the family and made Adam his wife from their family members. Right? They're close family knit family members. Yes. You could say at that particular time, but that was allowed for that particular time, for that reason, until the Most High started expanding and growing the family. That was for that particular time. Yes. Got your hand up, Mike? Right. 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 And remember, rulership in the earth is based upon what? Family, bloodline. Bloodline. Okay? It's a bloodline to America. It's a bloodline to the throne of England. If you know that bloodline, you cannot be a ruler or rulership. In David, when David ruled, who was his immediate captains, bodyguards, family members? His nephews, his niece. They were one that running things around David. His top captain was his nephew. And he was a terrible dude, a bad killer, a bad dude. Joab, that's a bad dude, man. Okay? Okay, and then he had his other brothers, his other cousins. All right? I remember who was David's uncle? It was, what's his name? What's the guy name? I forgot he was David's uncle. But David had his family members. His close-knit was his family members. Right? His counselors. Right? Today they call it, what's the term they use? When you have your family members working for you? Nepotism. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the way it's going to be when we get back in the kingdom. Our family is going to run this thing. Not no damn outsider coming in there, no so-called Jew. We're going to run everything the Most High gives. That's what it was supposed to be from the beginning. All right? So that's what it meant with that. And I'm going to continue that whenever I teach the next class again. So hold tight, hold fast. I say shalom.
Shalom.
And I'll end the class. Kwam Yasharala.